Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about this preset I created called Noisy Piano. Now it's not quite a piano sound because this is Serum, but I wanted to show you how this preset works and how it really complements a real piano and can really elevate it. So I'm going to play you a part of a song that I started, and we're going to talk about how this preset works and some of the tricks behind it. This is not part of a current preset pack. Hopefully in the future it will be. That's kind of what I wanted to show you it today so that you'll have access to this kind of cool sound. Now, if you're new here, go check out my website at synthdesigner.com. There's plenty of cool free presets for download. There's no signups required. So why don't we get right into it? I'm going to play you just the pattern for now, and then we're going to see how it works in the context of the song as well. So let's hear it. So as you can hear, it does have that kind of piano sound to it. Now, what makes a piano sound the way it does? It does have that kind of very quick attack to it, as if you're hitting the keys, right? Because when you hit the keys on a piano, it has that transience. It's boom, right away, right? And it has that kind of brightness to it as well. But it's not quite a piano. So I did layer it with a real piano, and here's how the two sound together. So I filtered out some of those highs of the original synth and put in the piano as kind of the higher section. So let's get into how I actually created the preset. So there's two unique important aspects to this. So this is kind of native to Serum, these two oscillators here. We have the PWM Juno and the B-Sod Square. So what makes them sound the way they do? So why don't we take off the effects for now? All the effects here, as you can see, there's some distortion, delay, compressor, and reverb. And then let's just look at the oscillators themselves and listen to them. And you can hear with the noise here with it on and off how much of a difference that makes as well. So as you can hear without the effects, it is missing some of that like bright transience, I guess you could call it. The PWM Juno and the B-Sod Square are unique because they are not quite saws, they're not quite sine waves, they're not quite square waves. There's something in between. And the other factor that makes it sound the way it does are these envelopes. So the first envelope here, we have just this kind of basic shape to it. Its decay is right at halfway, so I didn't change that, and sustain is a little less than halfway. As you can see, if I had the sustain all the way up, for example, you don't want the sustain all the way because then it has that full sound the whole time, and it creates too much, I guess, sustained sound. It really packs in too much, and it fills out the space a little bit too much. I don't want that, especially when I have this kind of plucky piano type of sound. I was inspired by kind of mid-2010s, late 2010s types of sounds, something like Avicii where he has a piano at the start of a song, or David Guetta, something like that, right? So I wanted kind of a piano type of sound, some sort of keys type of sound, and that's what kind of makes a key sound the way it does, right? When you strike a piano, you can hold the sustain pedal, but if you don't hold that pedal, it has a definite decay to it. And that's what we get here with kind of a lowered sustain. I upped the release a little bit because I wanted kind of I didn't want an immediate trail off, right? And that also eliminates clicking. So if I were to take the release down, here's how it sounds. As you can hear. That kind of is cool too. It's kind of got that almost sidechain sound to it. And so you have to think about how that kind of fits your song. Maybe you want that really quick kind of pluck sound. I didn't want a fully plucked sound. It's meant to fill out some space, but I didn't want it to be overwhelming either. Let's hear what these wavetables do as well. Let's just take a look at PWM Juno first. So you can hear it's not very loud. And then let's listen to this one. So they're really kind of different. You can hear it's much more of a square, and this PWM Juno is really in between. Really kind of meant to mimic the Juno, right? The famous Juno keyboard. But the two together, neither one dominates, right? So I have them both at the same level, and that's kind of the important part. When you have two oscillators together, you want them to work and function together. If you don't have them working together, then one's going to really dominate the other, and it's going to be kind of pointless to have two, but I really find that they complement each other great. Here we have this simple filter, but an important part is having this envelope attached to the filter. So I don't have it affecting it too much because I don't wanted it opening too much either, right? Let's just see how the effect of it, if I say had more of an effect on through the envelope on the filter. So you can hear if you open it up more, it's going to open up more, obviously. You can do that, and you can play around with that in automation as well. That's pretty normal. Like I can imagine a part where it opens up, but you can also do it where you can open it up through its own automation without the actual envelope, because that's going to change the sound a little bit as well. Then finally we have the noise here. The noise is not necessary, but it is a cool option to kind of, I don't know, add a little bit of character. This is not going to sound exactly like a piano, obviously, so having this noise does add some upper harmonics and kind of just a little bit of a difference to it. So it's up to you whether you include that or not. I found it kind of really cool. I wanted some of that kind of, I don't know, maybe retro effect, call it. And I think that really opens it up a little bit more to something more interesting. Moving on to the effects, here's really where you get some of that transient sound from it. If you think about Levels by Avicii, all those layers and how they create almost like a drum sound to it. And that has a lot to do with a couple things. First, there's that, obviously, that envelope that kind of has that pluckiness to it, but also the compressor adds a lot to it, as we'll hear. So let's just turn these on one at a time and see the effect. So let's start with distortion here. I have the stomp box distortion. When you're talking about distortions, something plucky is really great because it adds a lot of character without muddying it up too much. If you have a pad, for example, adding too much distortion can ruin the sound in a lot of ways, but here it adds to it, I think. Just enough of that upper harmonics you can hear, just adds a little bit of warmth. I really like how that sounds, and it's not too much. I have it pretty low in the mix. Next we have the delay and reverb. I'm going to turn them both on and see how they sound. You can hear it's not too high in the mix, and it adds kind of, it puts it in a room for to put it another way, right? It's not dry. So it just adds a little bit of interest. Now let's hear the compressor. I don't have it on the multiband setting, but let's listen to the difference here. Let's just turn up the master a little bit. It brings out some of those kind of clicky parts to it, and some people will not like that. But when you're talking about adding kind of that transience, I think a compressor really does that well, because it brings forward some of the quieter sounds, right? It crushes a little bit some of the louder sounds, and then it brings forward some of the quieter sounds. That's at least part of what a compressor does, right? So we have kind of a bit of a different sound now. So that's about it for the sound. You can see there's no LFO or anything here. The effects are minimal. I don't have much detuning. I do have this wavetable position, just a little bit different than the stock setting, and that's just because I found it sounds best here. But like, I don't have too much automation. I just wanted kind of a simple sound, and then with that layered piano, they really go nicely together. So I'm hoping that this kind of helps you out, and if you don't have a nice sounding piano like me, like if you don't like FL Fruity Keys, which is not a great piano, and maybe can't afford another type of piano, this is kind of a different option. It kind of allows you to group them together, and it kind of fills out some of the sound where Fruity Keys can't necessarily give you that full piano sound. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.